WinDC Radio Studio in the shops at Iverson. This is the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com, the WinDC Radio app, Facebook Live and YouTube Live on the WinDC Radio pages, and of course, it's all powered by GoWin.media.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, and everybody in between. Welcome to another special edition of the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. Of course, this is the one and only Bars. I'm your host, as I am every single Wednesday. AJ Throwback, broadcasting live and proudly from the shops at Iverson. Got to start off the show giving a huge shout out. Shout out first and foremost everybody watching on Facebook Live. We are on Facebook Live. Shout out Larry King, I see you, brother. Beth, welcome back. Appreciate you tuning in today. I see you, B. I see the missus is tuning in. Miss Razzle Dazzle, I see you checked in. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everybody watching right now. So I got to start off the show with a little bit of a shout out. So last week, if you tuned in, I had my favorite 5 rap verses of all time, and on Instagram I shared the video from my 2 honorable mentions. One of those honorable mentions was Sahada Prince for his verse from So Appalled, and the other was Smoke a Field Mob for his verse from Hit It For Free. And so I look at my notifications on Monday and I see something that says Chevrolet Pendergrass likes your video. And anybody that knows Field Mob knows that's Smoke's alias, Chevy Pendergrass. So I seen it, I was like, hold on. He paid attention to the post, because what's crazy is, like, you know, I tag people in posts all the time. But a lot of times with celebrities, you never expect them to respond. So it was like, okay, it was hit or miss. But anyway, yeah, so he actually liked the post. Not only did he like it, he commented on it, and then he proceeded to follow Bars on air. So that just like made my entire Monday. I mean, it was a great Monday anyway, but that really made my Monday because I was not expecting that. Somebody from a group that I highly respected, I feel like is criminally underrated, you know, followed, commented, and actually followed me back. Well, actually followed me first. He followed me first, and then I followed him. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So anyway, so shout out once again to Smoke a Field Mob. Like I said, we got a jam-packed show for y'all today. We're going to be doing an album review. T.Wits, brother I fool with, he's got an album out called Dirty Dishes. I'll be breaking that down in one of our new segments. Going to be discussing The Hate You Give, a movie that came out on Friday. At noon, we'll have calling in, welcoming back Marcelle, folk founder of Wine Key Experience. And later in the show, we'll be talking about, on Monday, the National Day of Protest Against Police Brutality was going on. I was a participant in that protest, so I'll be sharing my parts of my experience, some of the sounds from that experience. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the music. This is the homie Path P with Amazing, and you are listening to the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
Sunrise, I'm too live, I'm too fly, I'm too God, I'm too divine and true to mine. Too refined, read through the lines, what you define. When I shine, you shine, we shine. I'm hot stepping, scream hotep, and I boast blessings. It's all love, I'm king to thugs, God will judge. I'm a model of an anomaly, unbottled and full throttle, pedal to the metal till I'm boiling hot as a kettle. Made a solemn promise in my spirit, I never settle. Sing a song for the good times like Aaron Neville. They been longing for them good rhymes, I'm on the level. I've been on it till the morning, break of dawn, and I've been answering my calling, going all in for it all, and I will never stop. Give me my props, spiritually I'm balling, and lyrically I'm Jordan with a dose of Sebi, hot as a Serengeti. They ain't ready, it's getting kinda heavy. I'm feeling so amazing. Woke up, I'm so amazing. Step so amazing. Too fresh, I'm so amazing. I'm so amazing. Too calculated for any equation. Too acclimated to any occasion. Too immune to all the term persuasions. Yeah, always I'm rocking out at my best. I guess I must confess, you too just to the contest. I've had pain way too long on my chest to ever think that I'm less than the cut above all the rest. Royalty in my blood, regality in my veins. Mad love in my heart and the joy that can be contained. Cause I'm always reminded, for what my eyes can't see, my third eye can never be blinded. When the devil's on the grind, sending swine to sidewine and undermine a God mind, I sit his ass out on the sidelines. Cause I ain't got time, I'm Autobots prime, perceptive for Decepticons from upper echelon. I'm feeling so amazing. Woke up, I'm so amazing. Stepped out, I'm so amazing. Too fresh, I'm so amazing. I'm feeling so amazing. Woke up, I'm so amazing. Stepped out, I'm so amazing. Too fresh, I'm so amazing.
If you're an urban contemporary indie artist, then this is your platform. Send us clean versions of your music to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Dang. Y'all ready? Come on, man. It's about that time.
This life I lead, weight on my shoulders, trust me, heavy's the burden. When you take a step to sustain and know that nothing's for certain. Though I'm grinding and getting money, see my people are hurting. Will I live to make a difference before they closing the curtain on life? Mine, my mama say I don't spend enough time. I blow her off, but on the real, I know that she ain't lying. It's my mentality, reaching for preservation from nothing to something, trying to get against what we facing. Believe me, I'm dream chasing. Know that I'm still spitting. Lord, give me these words and all these pages they written in blood. Real life, I always give what I could. Though humble and warm-hearted, always misunderstood. My time here is limited. Legacy, let me finish it. Picture my unborn kids' game, just let me give them it. It's kinda funny cause I just do me and got people plotting to bring me grief. Sometimes I feel like I need more time. I often feel like I need more time. For real, sometimes I feel like I need more time. I often feel like I need more time. One dead at 16, the other at 33. Life wasn't long as I thought, losing people that close to me. Death is reality. Learned that in an early age. While some was missing the message, I try to smarten my ways, I swear. They got so many I wanna bring here. I pray them back from the dead if I could, cause I care. And true, I see you both when I look in the mirror. And I smile cause I know you proud when you see me down here. Little brother became a man, self-made in God's hands. I made my own crooked path, had my own plan. Yeah, one of the realest things I ever wrote. Fighting these tears as I'm writing, sipping hen and coke. But don't be worried about me, I'm reaching new heights. A brighter outlook, I'm still living life. And just know that I don't take it for granted. I see it, respect it, and I understand it. But still I feel like I need more time. I often feel like I need more time. For real, sometimes I feel like I need more time. I often feel like I need more time.
Wanna get down with the Bars Revolution? We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bars On Air.
Gravity, 60 East, Ryan Lucas.
Got you stuck off the realness. just some hip hop kids. Everybody got a story, dog. Back in the day, me and Rob freestyling basements, thinking of clever punchlines and phrases, dreaming of living life on these stages, pouring out emotions on pages. Hip hop Prince, I was feeling delirious. Made a little dough, then I got a little curious. Even underwater, I would flow like amphibians. My father never thought I'd take it this serious. There's something about that boom boom bap. Get me higher than Bishop Desmond Tutu's hat. Yo, why you spitting on them doo-doo raps? God gave me this flow, you can't YouTube that. Ha, we rock crowd from DC to LA, NY to Austin, KC to Philly. 1, 2, 1, 2, the party don't stop. I do this for the love of my life. I'm doing this for hip hop.
Ryan Lucas, hip hop, check it. I'm a lifer on the mic. Ain't nobody nicer on point like a sniper. When I step into a cipher, got bars like Quentin or Rikers. I'm a writer, got my name on the flyer. I'm setting the bar higher. Every bar, barbed wire on the road like hard tires. No sleep in the stew. Every night's an all-nighter. Flow raw through the wire. This what they call fire. Young sire on the mic. Make these rappers retire. Hip hop started out in the park. Break dancing on the court. I fell in love with the art that I saw on the walls that they painted with pens. Then I started writing words. Life started making sense. Now we aiming for the fence. Headlining events. Labels calling, talking about that they want to invest. One of the best in the world. Then he repping the West. And I'm blessed for this culture. Hip hop to the death.
Jay Dilla, Slum Village, Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Outkast, Kanye West, Little Brother, Busta Rhymes, KRS, Pharaoh, Dr. Dre, DMX, Rakim, Craig Mack, Jigga Jay-Z, Mobb Deep, Pusha T, N.E.R.D, Biggie Small, Siegel, Master P, Mr. Cole, Cat Brown, Nas, Odyssey, Black Spade, Black Milk, Black Dart, Theory Hazard, Braille Brizzy, Omega Sparks, Mad Lib, Def Squad, MC Light, AZ, Just Blaze, Sean Price, Rather MC, what up? Big Daddy Kane, Ken Star, Freeway, Wu-Tang, Wale, Swiss Beats, Public Enemy, LOX, Timberland, Missy, Brand Nubian, 50 Cent, Run DMC, Murder Mace, Common Sense, Heavy D, Goody Mob, Lost Boys, and the Ghetto Ones, Primo, P-Rock, Big Pun, Mos Def, Talib, Tab A, Joe Budden, Eminem, LL Cool J, Snoop Tupac, Slick Rick Shine, The Fugees, Raw Digger, 5'9".
Welcome back to the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yeah, that was Gravity Movement, 60 East, and the homie Ryan Lucas with Hip Hop off of that Tribe Called Fresh album. Please make sure y'all check out that album. Shout out to Ryan Lucas. Before that, we had June the Kid with More Time, and starting off the set, we had the homie Path P with Amazing. Got to shout out everybody that's tuning in on Facebook Live. I see you, Donnell. Neen from Let's Be Clear. They had a great show last night. Neen and Becky, Mike and Mr. Sean, they were talking about parenting. It was a really, really good show. So if you didn't catch it, you'll be able to see the Facebook Live video from yesterday. That's Let's Be Clear. They're on every other Tuesday along with Mike's Corner right here on WinDCRadio.com. Every Tuesday, 6 to 8 p.m. So please, if y'all haven't tuned into today's show, please make sure y'all do. It is one of my favorite shows on radio. Like, seriously. Anyway, let's get into this new segment.
Please don't refer to our resident expert as a music critic when AJ Only on bars.
You got it, Nene. You know, I gotta look out for family. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we are reviewing our first official album right here on Bars. You know, we try to show love to the indie artists that are out here, and yeah, we try to show love to the indie artists out here all the time, and this is another way that we are able to do it. So, just a little background. T-Dot Wits. This is a brother that I came to know from his feature on one of my boys, Naeem Bricks, on their song Same Old Thing, along with 3D Nati. And you know, like he just, like his voice just stood out. You know, like, you know how sometimes like you hear certain artists and like they just got a different vibe to them, and that's really what I got from T-Dot Wits. And like ever since like I follow him on Instagram, he's just always shown love. And you know, like lately it's been one of those things, like he's shown even more love, and we've been more in contact, just kind of collaborating and networking and everything. So you know, he wanted me to let him know what I thought about his album. So I was like, okay, how about I do an actual album review? And he was like, bet. You know what I'm saying? So his album Dirty Dishes has been out. It's been out for a good little minute. And I just like the title, and I like the cover. You know, I'm very much into titles and album covers being one of those things that kind of pull you in. And so that pulled me in off the break. And I have to admit, when I first listened to the album, it was one of those albums that I knew I had to listen to it a second time. And the thing is, where you listen to an album is very important, because I was listening to it in my bathroom and on the phone speaker. That's just not a really good thing to kind of get into the vibe of an album. But listening to it in my ears, in my earphones, and listening to it in the car, totally different. The album just, it bumps from beginning to end. For the most part, it bumps from beginning to end. It just has a really, I don't know, it's like, it's energetic, but it's almost like a kind of mysterious darkness, but not too dark. You know what I'm saying? Like the right amount of dark, but like the right amount of like energy. Like you don't feel like you're listening to half of what you listen to now, or like it feels like everybody's like just drugged out. The beats are like real drugged out or whatever. Not with T-Dot Wits. It's like he has very solid production on the album, so I definitely have to shout his beat selection out first. In terms of the songs themselves, it's a pretty solid project. I talk about some of my favorite songs on the album. Let's see, Money Counters. What I liked about this particular song was that you got like the man's perspective versus the woman's perspective in terms of, you know, the breakdown of a relationship, especially in a relationship where one person is pursuing their dreams, and in the midst, he may have, you know, lost sight of certain things. So I just appreciate it. And that's one of the things I appreciate the most about the album. He's very transparent about a lot of things that he's seen, a lot of things that he's done. And Money Counters is one of those songs. So the last 8 bars, it was one of those songs, like it was good in the beginning, but it got even better toward the end, which is the case with a lot of his songs. So the last 8 bars, he said, "You said that your friend said that I couldn't do it, but I gave 100, kept it 100. You was my love and I was not budging, but was not love. Got ugly, then it get out to the public, and your mother no longer loved me, and your dad began to hate me, did not want you to date me. I felt like love had betrayed me from the way that you portrayed me. Or was that how I acted that led to your reaction? Up late nights trying to exact. I guess love's no longer lasting." It's one of those things, like he paints a picture in a very, you know, like without having to be overly, what's the word? Using too many fancy words or doing it too fancy. Like he did it in a way that was like right at that borderline of like fancy and simple. Like, but it was still it was still profound the way that he put it. So that's Money Counters. Another one of my favorite songs, let me see, Know Me. What I liked about the album, Energy, it was one of those things because it's the follow-up to the opener. We'll get to the opener in a second. It kept a certain pace of the album, what dictated a certain pace of the album from the door. And some of my favorite lines in Know Me was, like abracadabra, brought life to cadavers. Never thought I'd have this life, now I have it. Leaving havoc, no, I ravage on rappers. Vacant leave their UFOs I inhabit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bars, and it's very visual, and it's like lyricism, you know what I mean? So that was another one of my favorites. Another favorite of mine, once again, keeping the pace of the album, which is very important when you're doing an album. Sometimes, like, people let certain songs kind of drag down the album. Not with T-Dot Wits. Big Plans. Like, it was funny. My favorite three, I kind of went back and forth about, okay, which one is my favorite? Big Plans, I love Big Plans. Like, it's actually the second verse on Big Plans. It's one of his strongest flows on the whole album, the way that he delivers it. You know, and of course I'm reading the lyrics, so you have to listen to it. But he says, it always comes down to pay. Life can get so expensive. I never flaunt no goods because bad friends get defensive. Saddest part about it is if I got it, they got it. Well, more like had it, they nodded. I learned from what they embodied. Like, that whole, he just got into a pocket. Much like I was talking about last week with Smoke from Field Mob, how he got to a pocket with that verse on Hit It For Free. That's how T-Dot Wits got into that pocket on Big Plans. Like I said, you got to listen to it. I'm just reading the lyrics, but you got to listen to it to see like how he just kind of weaves in and out, just effortlessly. My second favorite song, and like I said, I had to go back and forth between which one was my favorite, which one was my second favorite. But Devil Wore Kimono. What I like about Devil Wore Kimono is, along with Dirty, the title track, it gives the best picture of who T-Dot Wits is as, one, an artist, and two, also just who he is personally. Like, he's very transparent, talks about a lot of what he goes through. He was talking about like a case that he had, pretty much he had to beat or whatever, and just other things like that you just really have to listen to the song to pick up and get. Appreciate it, Dave. Appreciate it. But yeah, you know, like he just tells a story, and the way that he tells a story is the way that I like. You know, like it's just solid. It's a solid song. But my favorite song on the album, like I said, I went back and forth about it, but it's Dirty Dishes, the title track. It's a solid opener. He opens the album, kind of lets you know which direction he's going, what you're going to expect from the album, the energy that you're going to expect from the album. And again, he gives you a picture of who he is really from the first 8 bars of the song. He says, summer nights in Philly as a kid gave me new perspective. Growing up in Montgomery County was all about possession. How you see a Bentley pull out of a mile-long garage and drive a few blocks down the street and see the Great Depression. This ride on Metro keeps me humble. Figure when I get rich, I know was built from struggle. That's actually first 6 bars, my bad. Counting problems. Usually I don't have those. But anyway, yeah, so first 6 bars of Dirty Dishes, you already get a glimpse into who T-Dot Wits is. And I appreciate that in my artists when you, off the rip, give the listener, if they've never listened to you a day in their life, give the listener a picture of who you are so they stay connected with who you are. Show yourself, be yourself, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, those are my favorite 5 songs on the album. There were a few songs that kind of had to grow on me a little bit, if I'm being honest. One of those was a song called Find You. And it's not that the song, like, it's not that I didn't like the song, but it was just one of those songs, like, I knew I would have to listen to it a second and a third time to really appreciate it. And I really like the candor in that song, talking about a relationship. And some of the lines that he said was, then came bad decisions, ended with a mistress. How could I rectify what I did or didn't? She was everything that was on my wish list. but I failed to listen. Like I crossed the kitchen where my food was listed, had too many chickens, was all conflict, and by the time I had seen what was wrong, I missed it. Like it's laying it out there, laying out who he is, not afraid to just put it all out on the table. I appreciate that in my artist. Another song that kind of had to grow on me was Lady Love, because T-Dot Witz does a little bit more singing on Lady Love than on the other songs. And it's not that he has a bad voice, but it's like sometimes when you get used to people rapping, when they do a little bit more singing, it's like, okay. But it's a really catchy song. Like I found myself like singing along with it, even like after the song was over. So it's not a bad song. I can't say it's one of my favorites, but I can say like it's not a bad song upon second and third listen. Now if there was one song that I could say, it's the only song that I really can say I'm not really crazy about, and that's Told You So. It's just not my favorite song. I'm not really huge on the production compared to all the other production on the album. T-Dot, you know, his singing it can wear on you a little bit, and the delivery of the verses is a little up and down. It's, you know, I mean, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but it's also not the best thing I've ever heard either. But the songs aside that, you know, kind of had to grow on me, or that one song that I just really, for me, is the skippable song. Outside of that, it's a really dope album. It's one of those albums that I honestly can find myself, and it's hard in this day and age because there's so much music out, and it's constantly stuff coming out, and this is one of those songs that I actually feel like, or this one of those albums I actually feel like I could play multiple times even after the first 3 listens. You know, that's how solid the album is. So shout out to T-Dot Witz. The album is Dirty Dishes. You can find it on all major platforms, digital streaming platforms. Make sure y'all cop it. Make sure y'all listen to it. Let me know what you think. Once you check it out, you know, you can hit us up on @BarsOnAir, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Let us know what you think of the album. So once again, shout out to T-Dot Witz, and appreciate your support, brother. You know, like just supporting the platform and everything, and just, you know, stepping out there, because, you know, we were kind of talking about it. He's the first official album review that I've done, and it's always good when you get a solid album to do off the rip. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get back into the music. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to play my favorite song so you can hear it for yourself from Dirty Dishes, the title track. And you are listening to the official Hump Day motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
Never understand why. That's the point. They ain't trying to be better for you than what the yeah. Dirty Dishes. I don't like those. Never understand why. Summer nights in Philly as a kid gave me new perspective. Growing up in Montgomery County, all about possession. How you see your Bentley pull out of a mile-long garage, then drive a few blocks down the street and see the Great Depression. This ride on Metro keeps me humble. Figure when I get rich, I know it was built from struggle. I can hear the chanting loud, and does that mean that they don't love you? No, never. I'm just learning jealousy gon' come too. Nobody could have prepared a man for what is coming due. I done only got a taste of this shit, and they bitter. Oops. My bigger fans tell me they never know what to expect. Just by how I keep them guessing, they grant me that real respect. I'm losing friends, losing friends, losing friends. Guess they was never friends. I need more elusive ends. Keep this shit exclusive trends. Never take effect because I don't follow trends. I'd rather take bullets to chest before they play me in the end. Play me in the end. And they don't understand why I went from good to such a bad guy. No. They can never understand. I never understand. I never understand why. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. I don't like those. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. I don't like those. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. I don't like those. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. Dirty Dishes. I don't like those. Never understand why. This skeleton Skeletons in my closet, dirty glassware in my sink. A few pots there for deposit, just throw up signs with no ink. If that went over your head, don't mind it, I have a shrink. She go by mama wits and help make sense of what I think. My crew bump to my hits, no yes men when they're missing links. Used to have it all together, now I hold it all wherever. Doesn't make me crazy, I just separate like combs through kinks. Big Pac, Jay-Z, fans compare me to kings. I'm ignoring diagnostics taken from the haters. My mentors tell me I no longer should do a favor. They call me heartless, love down the faucet. I used to preach about finding God until I lost it. Refound him and yeah, it cost shit. And I would never recommend this life that you will get lost in. Now I feel like I'll be bossing. And I'm a killer Judah for everybody that crossed it. And they don't understand why I went from good to such a bad guy. No, they could never understand. I never understand why. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Dirty dashes, no. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Never understand why. And they don't understand why I went from good to such a bad guy. No. They could never understand. I never understand why. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Never understand why. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Dirty dashes, dirty dashes, dirty dashes. I don't like those. Never understand why.
Looking for the most balanced review of your forthcoming or current album or mixtape? Then email a formal inquiry along with your cover art, headshot, bio, and either links to your music or the project files to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
I just wanna dance, but every rally in the club so late, texting on their phones. Well, I think that's really crazy. From across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You get me excited. From across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You should come try it. Across the room.
What a night chillin' with my crew. Me and you, we could do what you wanna do. Grinding on the dick, baby, do what it do. Can't take my eyes off you. Feeling on my body like you know me. Baby girl, #1, you my trophy. Got me into the feeling like it was a goalie. Gripping on your waist while you move slowly. Back to forward to back, yeah. Ease your mind, you're right on time, yeah. Want you grind for me. Baby girl, want you grind for me, yeah.
Across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You get me excited. From across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You should come try it. Across the room. Saturday night and I really wanna shake it. Eyes on me, it's just like you see me naked. Move to the left, move to the right, vibes right. I'ma get you lost tonight. And as we move to the floor, you know I'ma put on the show. I'ma rock the boat, rock the boat. Work the middle, just a little. Tryna have a private party with your body. Moving on your wood, yeah, I feel the excitement. Everybody wants my body, but my body's wanting you. Everybody wants my party, but the party's here with you. Stick your key into my ignition. Let go of all your inhibitions. Across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You get me excited. From across the room, me and you. I just can't deny it. You should come try it. Across the room.
Whether you call yourself a beat maker or a producer, let's get those fire instrumentals some more burn. You could be featured featured during our segments as the next Bars Producer of the Week. Email at least 5 of your best beats to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
I had dreams of shopping at Saks Fifth, Jamaican food on a trip to Haiti, some Birkin bags just for you to clutch. Said I made mistakes, but this the way you made me. Pointing fingers, turning heated arguments. I listen from time to time. You live alone, so you would think a lot, and you would read a lot, and you would drink a lot. Had dreams of being a family. A couple trips to Miami, to a Bentley from a Camry. On the beaches where it's sandy. I know it's hard to understand me. It's why times you couldn't stand me. Too controlling, too demanding. But you deserve it all, you deserve it all. This that smooth talk and that smooth skin makes a smooth transition. This that black soap and that foundation make your skin tone glisten. This that summer's eve when your head damp, drinking summer wine and this that pull up park and we will politic until you come inside it. That brown skin and them soft lips and that natural hair too. I ain't go to college, but you got the degree that I admire, boo. Or that 9 to 5 with them French tips, be your own boss, you know. Or that strip pole, body flawless, girl, let's discuss a common goal. You bad as Rihanna, you cool as Madonna. Sex on the beach and the newest designer. Like what I see in you, girl, I can see me and you. We should be doing some things, we doing that one-on-one. We doing that one-on-one. Can you be my number one? Can you be my only one? My ebony, ivory, ebony. You bad as Rihanna, you cool as Madonna. Sex on the beach and the newest designer. Like what I see in you, girl, I can see me and you. We should be doing some things. We doing that one-on-one. We doing that one-on-one. Can you be my number one? Can you be my only one? My ebony, ivory, ebony. If you independent, clap. If you got your own, and clap. If you don't need a man to clap, but still love a man to clap. If you the different type to clap, I really love the way you move. You got a different type of vibe. It's vibrant, can vibe with you? You was stripping on the side. 2 kids getting harder to provide. 2 siblings, your daddy disappointed. You don't see that as baby girls a star. 2 exes that both came and sell. 2 bills on the table from the mail. 2 pills, should you pop another perk? 2 fingers for every man to flirt. Wait, it's that Lauren London down in ATL. Want a scholarship to spell me. This that summertime and that sundress brand hating, repelling. Yeah, this that drop you golf, insecurity and anybody jealous. Yeah, this that Jason's lyric like Jada Pinkett. I'll be Will Smith forever. You bad as Rihanna, you cool as Madonna. Sex on the beach and the newest designer. Like what I see in you, girl, I can see me and you. We should be doing some things. We doing that one-on-one. We doing that one-on-one. Can you be my number one? Can you be my only one? My ebony, ivory, ebony. You bad as Rihanna, you cool as Madonna. Sex on the beach and the newest designer. Like what I see in you, girl, I can see me and you. We should be doing some things. We doing that one-on-one. We doing that one-on-one. Can you be my number one? Can you be my only one? My ebony, ivory, ebony.
It's time to get back to AJ Throwback and Bars, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yeah. That was Drew Smith featuring Suave with Jason's lyric. Man, I really like that song right there. Before that, we had Danae Joy featuring Renzo Bands with Across the Room. And starting off the set, we had T-Dot Wits with Dirty Dishes. Shout out once again to T-Dot Wits, who's tuned in on the live. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in on the live right now. I seen Becky from Let's Be Clear. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Becky? Miss Jetta, Dimitri McCoy, appreciate you tuning in as well. Tiffany Willis, I see you. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate your constant support. Of course, my cousin, I call her Coolin'. That's what I used to call him when I was a kid. That's why if anybody's checking it out on the live and they see me say Coolin', that's what that inside joke is right there. So let's go ahead and get into this right here.
From the box office to the boom box to the idiot box.
Hold on, bruh. That makes us idiots.
Oh yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's what's hot in everything entertainment. This is the High Top Fade, only on Bars.
So, Friday, the Hate You Give movie debuted, and this is a movie that I have been waiting for months and months and months to. It felt like it was a year that I was waiting for this movie to come out, and I actually found out about the movie from why can't I think right now? One of my friends that I went to high school with, Natalie Norfus, her son, TJ Wright, is actually in the movie, The Hate You Give. He plays Sakani Carter in the movie. But we'll get to that shortly. But that was a huge amount of the reason why I wanted to see the movie. A shout out to Natalie Norfus for constantly letting everybody know that this movie was coming out. I mean, it ended up being one of these movies that was like a huge deal by the time the critics got hold of it, but by the time it started being promoted and everything, and I was like, wow, this movie is about to be like serious. And so, you know, I went to go see it on Friday. I mean, when I say I was dedicated, there are very few movies that I see opening night. I didn't even see Black Panther opening night. I wanted to, but I didn't even see Black Panther opening night. But I couldn't let Friday go without seeing this movie. And off the break, it just, you know, as a black person, it hits you in the heartstrings because in the beginning, Maverick Carter, the patriarch of the family, played by Russell Hornsby, he has 3 kids. You have Star, which means light, 7, perfection, Sakani, joy. And so he explains to his 3 children how to act if they're ever confronted by the police. So he says, keep your hands where they can see them. Even though we got to deal with this mess, being black is an honor because you come from greatness. Know your rights, know your worth. And then, I mean, you already see what his mindset is as he's explaining to his, you know, he then proceeds to break down to his kids the Black Panther Party's 10-point plan. And, I mean, if anybody's ever read the 10-point plan, I mean, it's very extensive and it's very much empowering for, you know, us as black people. Whether you subscribe to the Black Panther Party or not, I think a lot of the things in the 10-point plan are things that most black people, if not all black people, want across the board for our people. And so sewing that into his kids off the break, I mean, it just sets a particular tone. I kind of wanted to break down some of the layers of the movie, and how everything kind of sort of breaks down. So one of the layers, of course, is police brutality and the vilification of black victims. And in the movie, you have one of the guys who, you know, pretty much the guy who gets killed in the movie, Khalil. What happens is that, you know, like, yeah, Khalil was a drug dealer, but at the time that he was stopped, he wasn't dealing drugs. You know, he didn't even have drugs in the car. He was riding along with Star. They were coming from a party after a shootout happened. And the cop, he pretty much gets called 115 throughout the whole movie because that's his badge number. Thinking that Khalil has a gun in his hand, it was really a brush. He shoots Khalil and kills him. And so, but throughout the movie, what you see with the police when they're questioning Star, with the media when they're questioning Star, and then even with some of her friends, well, really one of her friends in the movie, the shift gets taken off of 115 as the assailant or as the aggressor, and it gets shifted, as what a lot of times happens, it gets shifted to Khalil as the victim. They have to find a way to make this young black man look bad or make the officer seem justified in what he did. So because he was a drug dealer, and even one of Star's friends alluded to it, oh, well, he was a drug dealer, so he's going to get killed anyway. Which is a terrible thing to say, really, and was a turning point in terms of Star and Haley's relationship. Haley is a friend of Star's at the, I guess it's a private school, Williamson. And so it's one of her white friends. And so she goes from sitting there, and we'll get to that in a second. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. So let's go to the next layer that I noticed. So you have identity, duality, and code switching as a black person in a predominantly white society. And it actually kind of makes me think of something the homie Pav P, he had put up a status on Facebook saying how like he felt like code switching was kind of weird, kind of whack. But you see that happen in the movie. And one of the things that, let me actually pull up what Star says. But pretty much what happens is that Star lives in this community, Garden Heights. I think it's Garden Heights. Garden Heights. And, you know, like in Garden Heights, it's hood, it's kind of dangerous. But then you go to Williamson, it's like predominantly white. And it's a different type of culture there. So to prevent herself from coming off as too ghetto to the white people, she doesn't talk like they expect her to talk. In fact, the white people are the ones who sit there and talk like she's supposedly supposed to talk. And she finds herself constantly battling with that, going back and forth between both worlds throughout the movie. In fact, one of the things that she says is, let me see if I can pull up the quote. I'm having a problem. Fine. Okay, so she says, slang makes them cool. Slang makes me hood. Williamson Star doesn't give anyone any reason to call her ghetto. And I hate it. So it's like you see that tug of war she deals with throughout the movie in terms of having the code switch, having to live between both worlds, because she's not black enough for the people in Garden Heights, but she doesn't want to be too black for the people at Williamson. So that's what she deals with throughout the movie. Another layer is the whole snitches get stitches ideology, which unfortunately handcuffs a lot of people in black communities and poor communities, because you sit there and you see something happen, but you're afraid of retaliation from the local drug boys or the local gangs. And in this particular case, you have the King Lords, ran by somebody named King, who actually Maverick used to run with back in the day, but he ended up getting locked up. But then once he got locked up, he changed his life around and decided to own his own store, Carter's Grocery Store. And so Khalil ran for King. He ran drugs for King. And so King tried to scare Star into not snitching, into not talking about it. He wasn't worried about the fact that Khalil got killed by a cop. He was worried about the fact that he knew that Khalil was running drugs for him, and he knew that would come out. So it was a thing where it was like, okay, keep your mouth shut. And so it became a thing where like he was threatening her, the family, throughout the entire movie. And it was just one of those things where it was like, and the thing is, Star actually insisted Khalil was doing what he was doing out of necessity, like a lot of young black men or a lot of black people in the hood do. When they feel like there's no other way, I got bills to worry about at like 10, 12, 14, 16 years old, and there's no man in the house, and it's just, and I'm the man in the house, and I'm not making excuses for it, but a lot of times this is what happens. A lot of times, a lot of us feel like this is what I have to do in order to survive, in order to keep my head above water. But King wasn't hearing that. King didn't care about that. King was very one-track minded. He was like, I don't want to be put out there. And if I'm put out there, then we're going to have a problem. So that was a layer. Another layer that I alluded to before was black swagger versus white privilege. And so you have, in a lot of instances, non-black people, they want the coolness of being black, but they don't want the struggle of being black. And how this is highlighted in the movie, once again, when Star's friend Haley, throughout the throughout the first probably half of the movie, she's talking in slang and talking like she's black and this and this and that and the third. But then when some black problems come about, then all of a sudden, her true colors show. Because then she starts sympathizing with the cop, saying, well, you know, well, he would have gotten shot anyway. Talking about Khalil. Like the officer, you know, he was just doing his job and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, but the video evidence showed that he was holding a brush, not a gun. So how can you sit there and defend that? You know, how can you sit there and sympathize with the cop, but not sympathize with the victim? Because he's a black man. And so there are other little things that kind of highlight that very point that I'm making. But the last layer that I wanted to point out was the whole concept of that originates from Tupac's Thug Life acronym, which is the hate you give little infants F's everybody. And throughout the film, you see examples, like I pointed out with Khalil, you see examples of systemic racism, lack of resources in poor communities, especially with people of color, media images, school to prison pipeline, police brutality and harassment. All of that is laid out in this movie, and it's laid out very well. It's not one of those movies that is just talking about a singular incident. It's breaking down all of the things that surround that singular incident. I have to say the biggest OMG moment of the movie that had everybody in the theater like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, was actually involving TJ Wright, who again plays Sakani Carter. Although he wasn't as prominent as Star or even Seven was, but he was just as important because he personified that thug life philosophy in subtle ways. You'll see it when you see the movie, because I don't want to give too much away, but you'll see it. There are certain things that he does leading up to that final scene, or one of the final scenes in the movie, that is that OMG moment. And the thing is, like I said, pay attention to everything he does. Pay attention to his reactions. Pay attention to what he does specifically with another kid when Khalil's family gathers after Khalil's death. So I thought it was a really, really powerful movie, really good movie. For the most, like I really don't have any complaints about the movie. The end was a little dramatic. Like parts of the end were a little dramatic, but outside of that, I thought it was a really good movie that tackled a lot of issues in a short amount of time. I mean, I want to say that the movie is 2 hours and 13 minutes long, but it's, trust me, you don't even really notice how long the movie is because it's that good. So please make sure y'all go out and see that whenever you get a chance. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go to a break, a quick commercial break, and we should be getting our call-in pretty soon from Miss Marcelle Folk of Wine Key Experience. We're gonna do the Fish Grease Pick of the Week after we wrap up the interview. So make sure y'all stay tuned. We're gonna come back with that interview, and you are tuned into the official Hump Day motivation for the DMV and beyond. And y'all know what this is. This is bars.
Win DC Radio brings to you the app. Yes, the app is now available on your Google Play and your App Store, on your iPhone or your Android, any of your pads that you might be using. Be it if it's an iPad Mini, or if you have a Samsung Note, doesn't matter what you have, any mobile device, you can get the app so you can listen where you're at to Win DC Radio.
The Shops at Iverson is now undergoing a transformation, creating a mixed-use center where the community can come together to eat, shop, relax, and feel connected. The Shops at Iverson is a 600 KSF mixed-use property consisting of retail and office space now available. Located inside the Beltway on Branch Avenue, Maryland, just minutes from downtown DC. It's an exciting time at the Shops at Iverson. Several beautiful renovation projects are ongoing, transforming the Shops at Iverson into the new safe community hub. DMV, get ready to enjoy the new food court, Opening late spring, early summer, featuring new restaurants like Chipotle, Quickway Hibachi, Tropical Smoothie, Wingstop, and free Wi-Fi. The Shops at Iverson, the original home of the world-famous Snickerdoodle cookies, is completing several cosmetic improvements to the mall interior, facade, and parking garage. The Shops at Iverson is the new home of Go Win Media, comprised of the DMV's premier internet radio stations, Go Radio Live and Win DC Radio. For updates and more details, check out shopiverson.com. That's shopiverson.com.
What's good, everybody? This your boy AJ Throwback, and when I'm plugging away at work and need a shot of energy, I'm tuned into the hot topics, dope music, and wild styles of my brothers and the kings of Monday night, Coach Taylor and Ransom Relic. It's Breakout Kings Radio, Mondays from 8 to 10 p.m., only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app.
Powered by GoWin.media.
Foreplay the Orgasm Show. I am your host, Hot Toddy, along with the Turn Up team, Miss Lolly and Showtime. Foreplay the Orgasm Show is each and every Tuesday night from 8 to 10, bringing you the sexy slow jams with very adult interactive conversation, only on WinDC Radio.
Man, look, y'all already know what time it is. It's your boy, Gerard Street Garvey, and my DJ, Kid Cannon. And when we together, you know what it is. Grind Season Radio, each and every Wednesday from 8 to 10 on WinDC Radio. Don't forget it. Yeah.
Looking for a new look? Check out Hair Academy 2 in the Shops at Iverson, Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. You'll get quality services done by developing stylists and barbers. Senior discounts offered weekly and free barbershop services available when you present a flyer. Chemical treatments are also available. Call 301-899-9100 for hours of operation. Hair Academy 2 in the Shops at Iverson, 3705 Branch Avenue, Suite 1010, lower level, Hillcrest Heights. A new look is waiting for you at Hair Academy 2.
We hope you didn't go too far. It's time for the second hour of the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the official Hump Day motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars. I'm AJ Throwback. While we're waiting for our guest of the day to call in, I definitely want to make sure I shout out because sadly enough, Libra season has ended, but Scorpio season is here. I know plenty of great Scorpios, so definitely got to shout out the Scorpios out there. My fam, Shawnee, a.k.a. Coast of Willing Coast, and my homegirl Essence, they are celebrating birthdays today. My man Nehemiah that I went to high school with, fellow artist, he continued with the drawing and artists and everything. And we have our special guest calling in. I'll continue the birthday shout outs later. Good afternoon, Marcelle. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, AJ?
A pleasure to have you once again. But let me do this and bring you in properly.
Artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, politicians, activists, or simply folks you need to know. We've got the line to the movers and shakers of DC, Maryland, Virginia, and beyond. This is 15 minutes of game on the Balancing Act Radio Show.
All right. Now we can bring it in.
I'm here.
Yes. So on the line, everyone, we have, once again, for her second time on Bars, and the first repeat customer, Miss Marcelle Folk of Wine Key Experience. How are you today?
I'm good. How is everybody?
Yeah, everybody's good. Everybody's lit and alive right now. You know what I'm saying? So great to have you back on with us. What's
great to be back?
Yeah.
I'm there in spirit.
Yeah, but you're here. Your presence is felt, so we definitely appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've had a lot going on lately.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So when was the last time I was there? Was it August?
Yeah, it was August.
August. Okay, so since then we had an event for, an apartment complex, and then they recently referred us to another apartment building that's next to them. Merrill Lynch contacted us for an event. They were referred to us. Yeah, so we're on a couple of lists. So there's a few venues in DC. So if you're ever looking to host an event or put something together, there are different venues in DC that you can use and rent their space. And some clients don't want to have like full-blown catering. So we're on a preferred vendors list for a few places. We have a wedding coming up on this Saturday in Culpeper, Virginia.
Oh wow! Okay.
And yeah, and then we also have we actually have Cogent Law Firm booking us for this Saturday as well.
Yes, Cogent, who we featured here.
yeah, and I know you had Josh Radbod on your show, and it's funny because initially when I saw that you interviewed him, I'm like, how does Joseph know Joshua? And then I forgot about the DC Startup Week connections that we had.
That's right. That's right.
You had a busy week.
Yeah, very, very. And I definitely have to shout you out for that particular connection, because I mean, just that experience, meeting all of those people in the, that's a part of the business ecosystem. It was good to talk to all these different people, and I mean, you helped to make it happen. So I got to give you props.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
your network's getting bigger than mine now.
I don't know about that. I think you still got me beat by a country mile. Oh man.
Yeah.
So
not by much though, because we're all connected in some way. There's always like some event that I go to, and there's someone there that I met in one area, and then there's someone totally different from a different realm that I knew, and then it turns out that they knew each other as well. Everybody just kind of is. It's almost like church for business. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but
I get that analogy. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just going back to, are you still taking Phoebe's classes?
I actually I planned on taking the next class. I forget what the next class is called. I think it's Grow Your Business.
The one-on-one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So are you
She
still
started doing? Yeah, January I go back to the one-on-one, like with the group sessions.
Okay.
Because I just finished. I did Grow Your Business and then the Guerrilla Marketing. And so like once you kind of graduate from there, you go into like the group sessions.
Okay.
But she did my business plan, and as a business owner, you don't always track your own numbers. Like you have them in a spreadsheet somewhere, and then you start like, it's not until you actually analyze the numbers that you know what you're doing.
Right.
And surprisingly, from 2017 to 2018, I found out over the phone with Phoebe that we did 301% of growth from 2017 to 2018. And
wow.
It's crazy because in 2018, I didn't do any marketing. In 2017, I did a lot of marketing and paid a lot of money for that. But 2018, I kind of took it down a notch because of school. So I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So it's looking like by 2020, I either have to quit the full-time job or I have to just make a decision to let someone else run it.
Right. Right. Yeah,
or sell it, or I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, it looked like you were just being an outsider. It looks like your company is really growing and blossoming to the point where, and I thought this before you even said that. I'm like, eventually she's gonna have to quit her regular job because it's growing so much and she's getting so much business.
Yeah, and I've had to kind of slow down, like taking calls and taking events, and there's been days where I had to turn business away or refer them somewhere else.
Right.
And yeah, like when you're getting 3 events on the same day and you're like, it's like, okay, this is a part-time business. But it's not really letting me have that. You know, I hate saying it's a part-time business because I do a lot with it during the evenings and weekends and lunchtime. And I do have other people involved helping me. Like, I have a new event manager. Her name is Jessica. And our wedding for Saturday, you know, it's an outside wedding, but it's supposed to rain. And she was great with contacting the client and making other, you know, adjustments.
Okay.
So I'm slowly starting to fire myself from wine tea a little bit. Yeah.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. So I'm not really as hands-on with the service part anymore. Like, we were at Bowie State University for a presentation, and actually my best friend is in business classes, and their assignment was to each choose a business to do their project on. So she chose mine, and it was pretty awesome. But she wanted photos of me in like the tuxedo, and I only had one from like last year, and she was like, no. And I said, you know, I sent her like photos of other staff in the uniform. She's like, no, but I want you in the uniform. I'm like, look, my role isn't much on the service side anymore as much as it is on the back end, like behind the scenes booking. And I have some great staff that look better than I do anyway in the photos. So.
Well, don't be so hard on yourself.
I mean, you know, it's just, you know, I wish I could just show up to an event and do the service part and leave, but there's a lot that goes on leading up to it. Yeah. Planning and, you know.
Yeah.
From the initial phone call to the actual end of the event, there's so much that goes into it.
Right.
But it's exciting. I'm like, sometimes I look at like our website or our logo, and we are having a new website made, by the way.
Okay.
But sometimes I look at like, you know, Google, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a nice company. But then then it's like, oh yeah, I do own that company. You know, and I've had people like approach me like, so you do events? And I'm like, yeah, we can do XYZ. And they're like, we? Who's we? And I'm like, my staff. They're like, wait a minute, so you're a real business? And, you know, they're like, how many staff do you have? I'm like, 65. And they're like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's serious when you think about it. I mean, a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, there are a lot of hold on one second. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who they're one business. I mean, they're sole proprietors. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just them. They're the only person that's involved in the business. They don't have any staff. So to have a staff of 65, you know, especially because your business has only been, it hasn't even been 2 years, right?
No, November 1st will be our 2nd year mark. But
okay, so you're almost there. Okay.
Yeah, but you know, for the first 6 months, we didn't really do a whole lot. We weren't really pushing for it. I had just started, you know, my new federal job, and I was like focused on learning that, and so I put Wine Key on hold for a while. But then, like towards the end of 2017, was when we really started doing like the holiday events and galas and stuff, and then now we have corporate clients that host annual client appreciation events, and you know, the word gets out. Like when you do a great job, we donated to the SIDS Foundation last year first. That was our first year donating. Nobody knew who we were. They didn't really know what we did. They usually figure like, oh, the wine lady or something like that. And so the donation was paired with a catering company, and our donation sold for $1,700 last year, and then this year they had the client talk about how, like, you know, how their experience with us, and then it sold for $3,100 this year. And we do great cocktails. We are, you know, even though we bring the bar, we let you bring your juices, we have our own special containers that the juice go into. So we're big on presentation, and I would say that's definitely what differentiates us. You know, I've had several years in the hotel hospitality industry, doing large conferences for people all around the world. You know, Congress people, the Black Caucus, the Hispanic Caucus, the National Credit Union Association. You name it, we've done it. Like the Chamber of Commerce, we've done a few times.
Wow.
And the DC Chamber of Commerce, their event is to die for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $450 to go to this dinner, but it's awesome. Like, and so just seeing how these events are put together, and it's so streamlined and it's so simplified to the point where it looks. Granted, there's a lot of time that goes into it, but because we know what we're doing, we've done it so long. We bring that experience into your home or your business.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait for an annual gala and pay $450 a person for that experience. We bring it right to you for
yeah.
a fraction of the price. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're thorough.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to ask you, it actually had to do with a Facebook post that you made. I want to say it was your last one, if not one of your last ones. So you said, in 8 weeks I'll be adding MBA to my last name. Full-time student status plus my business and full-time job commitments has me driven to conquer the next 2 months. So why was it important for you to get your MBA, and what are like some of the ways like that experience has added layers to your business since in almost 2 years as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say the two kind of went hand in hand. So when I first started my MBA, I didn't have any business experience, and I struggled with my classes.
Okay.
And I took a break from school halfway through my MBA and then started my business. And I would say having the business helped me basically ace my classes, because I sometimes I put together a paper in just a handful of hours last minute, and I don't know how. Sometimes I get 100% on these papers, sometimes it's like a 97, and I'm thinking it's either the professor didn't read it right or I'm just that bad. Like, I don't know, but they go hand in hand. Granted, a lot of the stuff with the classes I had already learned previously from Phoebe, so it kind of helps. And then there's also those few things as a business owner you never really thought of until it was brought to you in a classroom. So, I was just so close to finishing. I was like, F it. Like, the school called me and said, well, you have until 2019 to graduate. Because initially they asked me when I was going to finish, and I said at some point eventually, but not anytime soon. And, so I had started my MBA in 2014, and by 2015 I took a break, and I wasn't planning on really going back anytime soon, but they talked me into it, and I was like, well, fine, I'm either going to die trying to get this done because I've got so much on my plate already, or I'm just going to wing it. And surprisingly, my GPA is really good. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how that happened, but it's a difficult, like sleeping a few hours at night and taking naps during lunch, meditation. Now yesterday I started mindful eating, which is like a better way to nourish your body. Actually, the instructor for that one, his name is Jawad. He introduced you, so you should be. He should be reaching out to you soon.
Yeah. So I responded to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just kind of, I guess I can always improve, but I do try to take care of myself while I'm juggling all this stuff. Yeah. And it's funny because I told my daughter, I said, hey, Sanash, we have 2 events this Saturday. And she's like, well, I have homecoming, so I'm not working.
It is around that time.
Yeah. But I was like, I wasn't going to ask you to work. I was just hoping you'd be, like, happy for us. She's like, well, I'm happy for you, but as long as I'm not working, I already bought my ticket. And her dress and all that stuff, her shoes. So sadly, I won't be there for the photo portion of her homecoming. So, but she will. I think she's going to a friend's house, and they're going to do like a group thing. But but you do what you do. Once we got the second event, my event manager's handling the wedding in Culpeper, and I wrote down detailed instructions on everything that's expected, and I have a lot of faith in Jessica, so I know it's going to go well.
Yeah.
And then we have the rooftop party in DC for the law firm.
Okay. Oh, so that's going to be on a rooftop. Okay. That should be.
Yeah.
That should be.
Yeah,
good.
and we've done something with them before where we provided like the wine. They sponsored it, and we kind of dropped it off for them and helped them set up and things like that. So we just kind of help out where where's needed.
Right.
People host events more often than I ever knew in my life.
Yeah.
So like we have a repeat client that is having her birthday party in March, and she wanted a shirtless bartender with a pack, so I have one.
Okay.
I have two, and he wears a bow tie and no shirt and some slacks or pants or jeans or whatever, and yeah.
Interesting. Sound like some Magic Mike type stuff.
No, I don't think he dances.
You don't think?
But,
you don't think?
I don't think. I don't know. They don't really tell me what goes on at the party. I just hook up.
Oh man. So one of the I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I hate to say this, I've never met him in person, but he was referred to me by one of my other bartenders. We did a phone interview, and I don't know. I don't want to admit this, but part of the interview was I needed a photo because the client wanted to know who was going to be at her house. So
yeah.
But it went really well. She loved him, and he enjoyed working for her. So now when she has events, he clears his schedule for her.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Full service.
Yeah. we brought over the ball. We went shopping for her event for her. Yeah. We did a signature drink for her called Diamond's Castle, and because that's her nickname, Diamond.
Oh, okay.
And,
wow. Oh, personalized. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. We did a pink margarita. This season, we're actually going to post a video. I'm going to show everybody how to make mulled wine, which is a hot beverage. And I made some for a client on Sunday, and they loved it.
Yeah, I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, I almost posted it. I'm still kind of camera shy, but I am going to post a how-to because it's very simple and it tastes great. You can even make it in a crock pot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's a good holiday wine.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of my listeners will be chomping at the bit to see that video.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I'd love to just share, whatever knowledge I have. Like, for instance, any wine that someone gifts you and you don't like it, you can fix it. You don't have to throw it away or pitch it. You can definitely make any wine taste great. Yeah.
So, let everybody know where they can find out more information, how they can connect with you on social media, and yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so on Instagram is Wine Key Experience, spelled all one word, just how it sounds. And our phone number is 301-742-8565. You can call, and one of our representatives will take your message, and then they'll shoot it out to us, and then we will give you a call back. Oh, and I don't want to forget, so I'm going to have a special deal for your listeners, and this is, and I'm not going to be able to accommodate, 10 to 15 people on the same day, so it's going to be very rare, but we will offer so our bartenders and portable bars, they start at $1,500 for full service, which means we bring the equipment, we bring the staff, we bring the drinks. For you all only, and this is just a one-time thing, I'll never do this again because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But up until the end of the new year, if you want a bartender and a portable bar included, I will do it for $350.
Wow.
And if you want a shopping list and you can buy your own drinks, I will give you a shopping list. You let me know which drinks you want there. What do you order when you go to a bar? you let me know, I will give you a list. That means when we show up, you have your drinks, we bring the equipment and the bartender, and you can even make a drink menu. We can make it for you if you want. But what you order at a bar is what you will be able to order from your bar at your event at your house.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And we'll do it for a flat rate, $300.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate you making that offer to my listeners, and I will make sure to share that with my listeners on social media so that they'll know, so they can take advantage of that rare, and I do mean rare deal, people. It's very rare.
Yeah, I'll probably never do that again. But we just want to show you what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I appreciate. I know you kind of tied up right now, so I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today to talk to us once again. And thank you once again for coming on. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks. You too. Same here.
All right. So I'll be talking to you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, that was Marcelle Folk of Wine Key Experience. Make sure y'all connect with them on social media at Wine Key Experience on Instagram and Facebook, and on Twitter it is Wine Key EXP. So make sure y'all follow that. I will make sure to share a portion of that video so y'all can see the promo that will be going on. Like Marcelle said, it will only happen. This is the last time. So y'all are getting a serious deal right about now. And her services, trust me, I've just had her bartending. You know what I'm saying? So I already know that the business is popping, but the bartending service, she knows what she's doing. So you're going to get a quality product. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get back into the music. This is Native Sons with Live and Die. And you are listening to the official Hump Day Motivation for the DMV and beyond. This is Bars.
Nice. Native Sons, motherfucker. The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try. The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try.
Taxation without representation. The capital, home of the beast. You get murked off the natural. Caution tape block my alleyway. Watch up, I was gathering livestock round niggas like cattle on the battlefield. The district, no more street kings. Most of my comrades became endangered species. Push to Prince George's. Neighborhoods cautious. Property value flop. Your house get extorted. I'm serious and so sincere. Open your eyes. Mine is I see ever so clear. Show no weakness. Don't let no one determine your freedom. I pledge allegiance to the Lord. Flag, I use it to wipe my ass in the district, the city I'm from. I represent it, sick of watching my peoples damn near down on starvation. Stomach touching while 50 eat like a fat rat. Now they got birds, Satar running the death cab.
The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try. The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try.
They said that he can feel it in the air, but I can see it in your eyes. And your eyes don't lie. Cross my heart, I hope to die. A bullshit vibe. The why, only matter of time. Your eyes like a window, straight to your soul. It's get bold, they see they show. Taking shots at the dick, feed them like nigga need them to some up. Get then some up, you start to feed them some bulls. Going fishing with this nigga here, feed it here, dummy dry snitching on a nigga. A lot of niggas be confiding to their nigga about a kick. And tell you fuck that the same. You got to watch their eyes don't lie. The telephone gangsters and 2 drink tough guy. Shifty, low down, gritty by the touch of it. Fucked over once, so it's hard for me to trust a nigga.
The way way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try. The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try.
Slightly psychotic, neurotic. Picture myself in the mirror, the image I see, frankly, dog, I'm beside it. The rank that I can't handle, leave me alone, I got it. Deadly like a plane without a crew or a pilot. With a knife to the first, breaking the silence. Knowledge is key like when you're at night in the V, pushing the mileage. On the highway, whack MCs, screaming, suffering, college. All as real as they say he is, homie, I doubt it. And do without it, not really giving two f***s about it. You can scream and shout it, but you really ain't about it. Acting like you got no home training, behaving not childish. Looking like a clown in a suit with a cane and a challenge. The words to speak are offspring of mayhem and malice. Babysitted by homicide, random acts of violence. The life I live is but a f***ing challenge. Weighed by the scales of fate, homie, I'm tipping the balance.
The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try. The way you live be the way that you die. And you wonder why when you're gone nobody cries. All they do is sigh. Oh well, goodbye. You had your 60 seconds of fame. Good job, nice try.
You hear this spot right here? This could be your spot where you pull your new customer. If you're a nascent or established business or entrepreneur and you believe you have the right product for our audience, then advertise with Bars. For more details on our rates, packages, and deals for first-time clients, email balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
This what they've been waiting for, right? You ready? Couldn't wait to say that part. I never prayed for times like this, to rhyme like this. I had dreams of being successful due to colleges, but my foundation wasn't solid, so college I missed. Join the army, one of the perks is paying for college, plus a sign-on bonus. I said I get that too. It was time to marry Uncle Sam, and I said yeah I do. I made the choice of dressed in green, no dressed in blue, and I'm glad I chose green, cause no respect for the blue. That's the police, and they be geeks that lock up geekers in the streets. Got married once for a buying bus. First felony, I kept getting sanctions for dumb shit. And smoke a tree until the judge told me, come here again, you never leave. That was the day he made me believe. In my door and keep coming down here for smoking weed. Finished up probation, then I caught my second felony. Fucking with a greedy crackhead, the fuck was wrong with me. That shit gave me a mandatory 3, cause the laws was different in VA compared to DC. Took me to school and started working on my first degree. I couldn't leave the streets alone, I had to pay them lawyer fees. I was pushing the A for key a week. While steady getting them A's and B's. A year later at court for sentencing, I had my GPA ready and plus a letter from the dean. The judge read it, then she changed her mind and said, I can't lock you, Miss Taylor, cause you doing fine. Cause if I lock you with these grades, then I'd be doing a crime. So I'ma take this mandatory 3 and I'ma give you 5 years probation. Y'all already know my pride. With my head to the sky like, thank you, God. I left the court and went home and got in tune with my music. Now when I hear Frank and beat, I fucking lose it. Hold it, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? That was just the intro of the motherfucking beginning. I'm about to crack this fucking beat because I'm vivid and my name speak for itself. Just watch how I dig all up in it. I'm the type to bang your bitch, then I'm bagging when I'm done. That's that type of shit we do in my city where I'm from. You can fuck around and get fucked around, then fuck around and get murked. A lot of niggas acting like bitches won't y'all take off them scouts. No, a lot of niggas still snitching, boy, that ass don't work. That's the quickest way to get yours. Lay faced up in the dirt. So when you reach them pearly gates, let us know how that shit is work. Hey, RP to all my haters, I'm dead, know y'all first. Cause I've been killing shit with the bars. Can't I never fit in my lane by far. I just want the money, but I take being the star. If it's gonna bring the money, sign me up the Mars. Preach fit it, so I gotta go and get it, cause it ain't gonna come to me. I be grinding like them people teeth be all up in they sleep. And if you know another you think of with me, tell her come and meet me on the northeast side of DC. Bars.
Organizing any type of event to benefit the people in your neighborhood? Then submit it for the bar's community calendar. Send all important information, including point of contact, to balancingactradioshow@gmail.com. That's balancingactradioshow@gmail.com.
Wrong dummy.
When a boss won't you, hey. She be like, other side, yeah, she down for that ride. Give a damn who riding with us. And I ain't got a thing to hide, yeah. Our time is our time when I'm in it. She know what it is. Ride around the whip, hey. Me and my new chick. When I went to, I forget that other bill. Hey, with it, yeah. Real deal with it. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
New whip, guess I'm on some new shit. No, she ain't my girlfriend, just a chick I'm cool with. Only let a few hit, let her blow a few chips. Took her on a few trips, kissed her on her 2 lips. Was amazing, had cheerful wit. Wish I would've knew this, she gon' make me lose it. Something more than a one night stand, less than lovers, more than friends. Some people won't understand. I know she got a man, she know that I got a wife. She play her position right, she keeping her lips tight. We linking up late nights, cause I how she like. Roll up and take flights, zip if she like.
She be like, other side, yeah, she down for that ride. Give a damn who riding with us. And I ain't got a thing to hide, yeah. Our time is our time when I'm in it. She know what it is. Ride around the whip, hey. Me and my new chick. When I went to, I forget that other bill. Hey, with it, yeah. Real deal with it. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
Sitting in my living room, scrolling through my decks, thinking that I need some whip. Am I gon' go next? Kiki got the deeper pockets, Keisha got the better sex. I just them both together, that'll make a wet. Phone line jumping, I just got another text. Looking at it, who is this? OMG, that's just my ex. She just wanna fuss and fight her new don't right. Hit her with that double back, I might let her spend the night. And I got a white girl, young as hell but thick as she thinks she be running shit. She gon' make me up. I might your baby mom. She be with the freaky shit. Hell, I just wanna watch her. Another
she be like, other side, yeah, she down for that ride. Give a damn who riding with us. And I ain't got a thing to hide, yeah. Our time is our time when I'm in it. She know what it is. Ride around the whip, hey. Me and my new chick. When I went to, I forget that other bill. Hey, with it, yeah. Real deal with it. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord.
Somebody tell you he hot, man. You know everybody hot now, man. He fish grease.
That's how we feel about this track right here. This is the Fish Grease Pick of the Week, only on bars, on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
Hello kids, I'm back again, back again, back again. Hello kids, I'm back again, back again, back again. Hello kids, I'm back again, back again, back again.
Hello kids, I'm back again, back again, back again.
Hello kids, I'm back again. Dropping them hooks like Floyd and then with a light makeover like Lil' Kim. Building my team like I'm playing Sims. Characters like 2K. Never sidelining like Boucher. FC on the beat with the heat for the street and the flow so free. Got 'em feeling like me. Ain't nobody could stop me now. Cause my father gon' hold me down. And my brother got hands too. Stressing things when the drama flew. Ops looking so miserable. Can't take us from finals view. Yeah, the season looking nice and the team looking right, but the king is still running you. Put my best on him, that's a gamble. Said I roll with that. I don't talk to the universe, just got along cause he made that. Brian of Wakanda, ain't talking none of them partner. Just showing love to the real throne and the one begotten of the Father. Let's go.
Do it for my people cause I know they love the feeling. Power from above, so you know I keep believing. Do it with emotion cause I know the camera reeling. Yeah, we paint a picture even when the pain is killing. I know what to do with it. Do with it, do with it. Show you how to move with it. Move with it, move with it. I know what to do with it. Do with it, do with it. Show you how to move with it. Move with it, move with it. Let's go.
All settled in know what to do. Know what to do, this ain't nothing new. Wrist still flicking like a cooking stool. Like a cooking stool, like a cooking stool. God-given dream for the higher view. Higher view, higher view. Grind so separate for the revenue. Gotta pay your dues, gotta pay your dues. Hybrid for the new school. Tracks go trap, but the bars move. Bando lines that serve you. Touch your soul like ribs do. One time for the ones who they see coming in, hit the snooze. Two times, I got you. They don't trump, that's fake news. So many got talent you can never defeat, but they dry like a whip with a boot in this week. Never leave them in a circle, no, they bound to tweak. Lost air with excuses, they bound to speak. We ain't got no time for the doubters and procrastinate on my Shannon Sharp, cause they skip all the nonsense.
Do it for my people, cause I know they love the feeling. Power from above, so you know I keep it leaning. Do it with emotion, cause I know the camera reeling. Yeah, we paint a picture even when the pain is peeling. I know what to do with it. Do with it, do with it. Show you how to move with it. Move with it, move with it. I know what to do with it. Do with it, do with it. Show you how to move with it. Move with it, move with it. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Balancing Act Radio Show, hosted by AJ Throwback, only on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app, powered by GoWin.media.
That was our fish grease pick of the week. That was C.W. Allen, fam right there, with Do With It. And C.W. Allen will be calling in next Wednesday to talk to us about his upcoming EP, The Dream Baby. So make sure you tune in for that next Wednesday at 11:15. Before C.W. Allen, we had YB the Great featuring BZ Archibald. BZ Archibald, huge supporter of the show. That was called She Know. Before that, Vivid with Dreams and Nightmares. And starting off the set, we had Native Sons with Live and Die. Yeah, so we got a brand new segment to unveil, so let's get right to it.
Whether we're backstage in convention halls, community centers, or the streets, we step away from the snickerdoodle capital to get in and around the nation's capital. The sounds, the voices, the heartbeats of your neighborhoods and your area. This is Bars on the Move.
All right, so as I alluded to in the intro, I actually went to the 23rd National Day of Protest Against Police Brutality. Actually, the full title of it is the October 22nd Coalition to Stop Police Brutality, Repression, and the Criminalization of a Generation. And they have been mobilizing protests against police brutality since 1996, and Monday was the 23rd National Day. And a lot of times, well, every time they bring together different people, different organizations across the nation will gather together in protests around the country. And I'm sorry, I'm reading. Sometimes I write my notes and I'm like, I confuse myself. So pretty much, it's a thing where it's like, it's, bringing a bunch of people together to expose the epidemic of police brutality. So what it is what they do. They've been mobilizing every year since 1996 for National Day of Protest, always on October 22nd. And it brings together those under the gun and those not under the gun as a powerful voice to expose the epidemic of police brutality. I think it was several protests here in D.C. I attended the one that was organized by Stop Police Terror D.C. at Gallery Place, and I've been to rallies and I've been to, I've lobbied before, but this was like in my adulthood. This was my first protest that I'd ever been to, and as I did in the last hour talking about the hate you give, police brutality and harassment is one of those issues that means a lot to me, and it's something that kind of, it's personal. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I was in attendance for this particular protest. And I just felt like it was simply important for me not only to talk about these things, but actually be involved in the movement, be involved in some form of action. I know it's marching, it's protesting, and there's more work to be done beyond that. But I feel like when it comes down to it, that's a place to start for really anybody. So what I want to do is share with y'all this audio presentation of my experience, some of the people that I talked to, some of the sounds that you'll hear, so that you can feel like you were right there in the protest. And we're going to go ahead and get into it right now.
Participating in the 23rd National Day of Protest to stop police brutality, repression, and the criminalization of a generation, Stop Police Terror Project DC, along with Black Lives Matter DC and other organizations, banded together for a protest and march beginning and ending at Gallery Place in downtown DC. Sean Blackman of Stop Police Terror Project DC started off the night with a few words.
For those who don't know, the reason why we use the language Stop Police Terror Project is because we feel that if the police brutalizes someone, that in and of itself is an isolated act. If the cops kill someone, that in and of itself is an isolated act. But once we understand
participating in
oppressed communities are directly connected to the material conditions, to the housing that people have, to the jobs that are available to people, to the wages that people make, to the health care that people have or more than likely don't have available, to the overall resources that people need to elevate to their ultimate human potential, if you will. Once we see how all of that is connected and coincide with the role that police play under white supremacy and under capitalism, we believe that is what escalates the situation from simply brutality to a condition of terror.
As the group marched and protested along F Street Northwest, down 9th Street Northwest, and onto East Street Northwest, we arrived at Penn Social Sports Bar at 8th and East Streets Northwest, where Mayor Muriel Bowser was attending an event. Eugene Puryear of Stop Police Terror Project DC had some choice words for the mayor, her administration, and how they have handled, or rather mishandled, the subject of police brutality in DC.
In 2015, when a number of us here, April was there with me, different people, were trying to raise the issue of a potential of increased community violence, the first response from the Bowser administration is that, well, this is fake, it's not happening. Then the next response was that, oh, well, it's really all about K2. Then the next response was, oh, well, it's actually about returning citizens who are coming back and committing crimes. All of those were obviously spurious explanations, but then there was a press conference that was had, and this was the so-called solution as it was going to be, and all it was longer jail sentences, tougher penalties, the thing we've tried in every state around this country for multiple decades that had no impact on crime, that destroy black communities, rip them apart, and that continues to this day to really act like a time bomb in many of our communities. And I think it's unfortunate that somebody who claims to be progressive, is running for re-election, can be allowed to skate like that when literally, as we just talked about, in roughly a month's time, I think actually less than that, 3 people killed by this police department, and total lack of accountability when it comes to releasing information on officers' names, releasing body cam footage. I mean, really, all the worst things you hear about, that's what's happening, but no one wants to call it on the carpet. No one wants to say that Mayor Muriel Bowser, and quite frankly, most of the DC Council, is just as complicit and just as responsible as this chief Peter Newsham, who deserves to be fired right away.
As the protest continued along East Street Northwest, we arrived at the National Law Enforcement Museum, which recently opened on October 13th. Natasha Napper did a piece for Al Jazeera English talking about the inclusions, omissions, and interesting portrayals of the history of law enforcement in the United States.
There isn't much more to say other than it was pure propaganda, or propaganda, really. They really tried to paint this friendly face of yeah, sure, we started as slave catchers, but look how far we've come. It really, I mean, the video that they they show you when you first arrive is unbelievable. Like, you know, I mean, they're ruining disco songs, like cops dancing in the cars, like being like, hey, right, we're your friends. We're not like, there are just a couple bad apples out there like killing you guys, but it's not all of us. They completely erased Black Lives Matter from the entire conversation around Ferguson. They really, you know, they have paid tribute to J. Edgar Hoover. Like, we've got a whole special display just dedicated to him. And like, there's like a little tiny display hidden in a corner about the militarization of like the cops. Like, that's just like an afterthought.
As we left the National Law Enforcement Museum and headed back toward Gallery Place to end the protest on a high note, I was able to catch up with my friend and fellow protester, Christina Wong, aka the Wong host of a Seat at the Table podcast. As a seasoned community activist, she spoke about why the National Day of Protest Against Police Brutality was near and dear to her and the importance of participating in more protests like these.
It was important for me to come out because I could, so I did. And especially with this specific protest about stopping police terror, especially with it being in this city that I live in, city that, you know, I've been here my whole entire life. And that's something that's really prevalent and really going on right now in our world. And what was mentioned today is that DC doesn't get a lot of attention when it comes to this type of stuff. You know, you hear about Chicago, or you hear about, you know, LA, or you hear about New York, but nobody ever really talks about what's going on in DC. And we have a lot of police terror going on in DC. We have a lot of corruption going on in our government and in just the systems that we have in place in law enforcement and the judicial system. So as a person that seeks to be a change agent, you know, showing my face, hopefully, and posting it, not posting it, but even just the spectators that were watching us go by, you know, it sent a message that we're serious. Even the people that didn't understand what we were doing, or maybe didn't even agree what we were doing, it sent a message that there are people here ready to fight the good fight and stand up for what is right.
Finally, I was able to catch up with Eugene Puryear of Stop Police Terror Project DC and ask him specifically what practical solutions everyday citizens can take in combating this issue of police brutality in their neighborhoods.
Well, I think the first thing that anyone can do is when your police department is facing some sort of contract struggle, which they do on a regular issue, demand that your lawmakers take out all of these administrative procedures. I mean, the reality is that killing by a police officer is not treated like you and I. It's treated as simply just the cost of doing business. So before they even have a chance to get close to any sort of criminal repercussions, you essentially have 85 layers, you know, I'm exaggerating, of administrative whatever. Like in Maryland, which is close to here, you have the Police Officers Bill of Rights. The police officers can't be questioned for 10 days after the shooting, but they can meet with a lawyer, they can meet with a rep. So it essentially gives them a cooling off period to come up with the story, figure out the people who are going to back up their story, and then come in there and get away. And I think that's one of the least examined but most important elements is if you kill someone on the street, if it's justified, go to court like everyone else and prove that it's justified under the, by the way, the exceptions that the Supreme Court has made for the police killing people. So even if you went on trial in a regular way, you still would have a better chance of getting off, and yet and still you don't do it. So I think it's a smaller thing that people don't talk a lot about, but the way these police contracts essentially write in a lack of accountability by making these administrative rather than criminal issues when someone's killed, you're already behind the 8 ball the second the shooting happens.
Right. Where can people find out more information about your organization and connect with you?
They can go to sptdc.com, and we're also at Stop Cop Terror on Twitter and Instagram.
All right. Thank you so much, Eugene. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Thanks
No
so
problem.
much for covering us, man.
No problem. No problem.
If you're in or outside of the DMV and you're interested in more about the October 22nd Coalition to Stop Police Brutality, Repression, and the Criminalization of a Generation, please visit October22.org. That's October, the number 22.org.
Thanks again once again, thank you to everybody that came out to that particular event. Shout out to Stop Police Terror Project DC. Shout out to Black Lives Matter DC. Thank you to Eugene Puryear for taking time to talk to me, and also to my friend, the Wong host from Seat at the Table podcast. Let's get into, bear with me 1 second, because we have a few announcements to make before we close the show. So let's go ahead and do this right now.
Let's see what's happening on the Bars community calendar.
Before we get into the Bars community calendar, actually, let me finish up the Scorpio season shout-outs. Once again, my homie Nehemiah is celebrating a birthday tomorrow. Demetria, Miss Jetta McCoy, who tuned in earlier today, and Sly D, who I was on a song with, had the pleasure of being on a song with. They're celebrating birthdays Friday. Pyro the Lyricist, another fellow MC that I was on a song with, celebrating the birthday October 27th, which I believe is Saturday. And we had him on the show on September 5th. Actor Marcus Murphy, he will be celebrating a birthday next Tuesday, October 30th. So shout out to all the Scorpios out there. Community calendar. The Gandhi Brigade Youth Media, in partnership with the Montgomery County Public Libraries, will be holding free video production classes for high school students. Started on Monday, September 24th, running up through Friday, December 14th. It'll be once a week from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. except on Election Day. It'll be at 5 locations: White Oak Library on Mondays, Praisner/Burtonsville Library on Mondays, Aspen Hill Library on Tuesdays, Kensington Park Library on Tuesdays, and Silver Spring Black Box Theater on Thursdays. So you can sign up for different places, and those are the days that it'll be on at those places. So you don't have to be confined to just one place if you live in Montgomery County. Students learn to use video as a tool for community activism and personal expression. Once again, that is free. For more info, visit gandhibrigade.org or sign up at bit.ly/youth media class. The Catalyst Network Foundation Incorporated will be holding Womanomics, Paying It Forward, a meeting of the mind sponsored by City First Bank and Industrial Bank, Thursday, November 1st. Networking begins at 6 p.m. Panel discussion begins at 7. After work mixer begins at 8. And that will be held at the Park, 920 14th Street Northwest in D.C. Esteemed panelists include Joyce Moorhead, Ernestine Morrison, Unique Jones-Gibson, and, we had her on the show, Eris T. Scales. Be moderated by Trey Barnett. The cost is $10 for members of partner organizations, $15 for guests for early registration. For more info, visit Womanomics, that's WOMANOMICS-CNF.eventbrite.com. Only the Gang, we had them on the show on September 19th. They'll be holding Scorpio season birthday bash, celebrating the birthdays of Kia, and we had him on the show, Rude Boy Dreads' birthday. That will be Saturday, November 17th from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. at Quara Lounge, 818 H Street Northeast in Washington, D.C. $5 shot specials and live music headlined by OTG. Cost is $5 to enter, $20 to perform. For more info, follow OTG on Instagram at OTG_202. And finally, the Economic Development Committee for the Fairfax NAACP will be holding their first annual Fairfax NAACP Veteran and Minority Business Expo Saturday, December 15th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Thomas Jefferson High School, 6560 Braddock Road, Alexandria, Virginia. Cost is $60 for vendors, $20 for additional tables. Attendees are encouraged to donate $7 for the Fairfax NAACP to continue their advocacy work in Fairfax County. For more info, contact Nikki Zimmerman at 571-309-2621 or email veterans@fairfaxnaacp.org or economicdev@fairfaxnaacp.org. And of course, we have to finish with this right here.
Words of wisdom to get you through the rest of your week. These are the bars for life.
So, one of my favorite actors from one of my favorite movies, Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox, he once said, "I am careful not to confuse excellence with perfection. Excellence I can reach for. Perfection is God's business." And I found that quote very interesting because it connected to another quote that the brother, I think Pat P shared this. Yeah, Pat P did share it. From a guy on Twitter named LaShawn Thomas, who said, the world doesn't reward perfectionists. It rewards people who get things done. Hashtag finish your projects. And for me, I know as an artist, it's very easy for me to get caught up in trying to be perfect. And I think that goes across to just being a human being. So many times we focus so much on trying to be perfect instead of just being as excellent as we possibly can be. And just doing our absolute best and sharing that best with the world. Giving ourselves, giving our time, giving our energy. If we're artists, giving our art. If we're writers, giving our writing. If we're activists, giving our time and, our struggle. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is, our blood, sweat, and tears into it without worrying about so much about, is it perfect? Is every little fine detail right where it should be, right where it needs to be, instead of sometimes just going for it, And I know I'm guilty of it too as a serial perfectionist. But as I get older, I learn not to be handcuffed so much by that. So that's the Boss for Life that I share with all of you closing out the show this week. Just live. Sometimes you're your best self when you just live and you just live in those moments and you don't worry so much about everything being exactly right all the time. So I definitely want to shout out everybody who tuned in today. Thank you everybody who tuned in on the live, who shared, who liked the post, who participated in the conversation. Once again, shout out to T.Wits. Make sure y'all check out Dirty Dishes. Like I said, it's on all digital media platforms. Check that album out. Shout out once again to Marcelle Folk of Wine Key Experience. Again, I'll be sharing that a portion of the video so you all can take advantage of that deal. Shout out to Stop Police Terror Project DC once again for leading the National Day of Protest Against Police Brutality here in DC on Monday. And once again, I just thank everybody for tuning in. Next week, like I said, once again, C.W. Allen, we will be interviewing him at 11:15. He'll be calling in to talk about his EP, The Dream Baby, so make sure y'all tune in for that. Coming up later today on WinDC Radio, Different Mind Radio Show from 6 to 8 p.m. and Grind Season Radio from 8 to 10 p.m. And I also got to make sure that I shout out before I close. Got to shout out Azur from Goddess of the Nile Radio. She just brings so much great energy every single Sunday. She's on from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday right here on WinDC Radio. She's just one of those people who just, once you stop listening to her, once you're listening to her, you feel like you're being fed. You feel like you're being led on the right path. You feel like you're talking to somebody like that's just feeding your spirit. And it's just always just so edifying to watch her show, so encouraging. So make sure y'all check her out as well. I'm about to run out of time, but we went a little over today because we started late. But at any rate, we're gonna go ahead and close the show out. This is Sha-Lu with Battlefield, and you're listening to the official Hump Day motivation for the DMV and beyond. And we're here every Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on WinDCRadio.com and the WinDC Radio app and Facebook Live and YouTube Live if you're a YouTube person. So appreciate y'all once again. Love each and every one of y'all. See y'all next Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.
It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield. Battlefield.
I spot a lion and a cheetah, a jaguar on the field. None of these cats be kings. None of these players be chiefs. None of these dogs be wolves. The fear soccer one blues. That's right. I'm an animal. I'm a boo. Yeah. I'ma shut him up with my cool. Name a player who can ride a boo. Name a player who ain't scared to lose. Name a player who ain't lose a tooth. Jenna Johns don't follow rules. Toys, another Puma boot. Growing trees that got blue roots. Tackle rappers, yeah, we do it live. Blue boys, yeah, we run in town. Trying to act like a high roller. On the ground like a Highlander. You be lying. line that you call cruising. Knock you out like a crusader. Throw a storm and a hurricane, never take me out, I'm a heavyweight. Battlefield and a fist in, taken down in the first team. Battlefield, but I'm fishing. A hookah shark that ain't swimming. I run it down, then I grill it. Fucking knife and I'm eating. Western force I am feeling. We chewing broomies like chappies. Tell your kings not to try us. Tell the rest to add color.
It's a battlefield. Yeah. You either run, or they fall on you. Oh, they fall on you. Yeah. It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield. You either win, or you gon' lose. Oh, you gon' lose. I'm feeling the crowd. We banging this now. They ain't banging this now. Winning it now. Taking it now for all seasons. We only here for one reason. Gotta pull up out of here screaming. Cups on cups on cups. Most spots they know we ain't cheating. Tackle. They hit the ground. Shake it. After we beat it. No storms. No jaguars. I ain't feeling this hurricane. Got sharks in the sea. Been swimming free. Yeah, we been swimming. Bulls of this pride. Scoring goals that we keeping. Onze die ballen. Het doel 50 punten. It's okay. We gon' win all day. You know we don't play. Make the teams run away. Make your teams run away. Make your team run away. Make your teams run away. Make your team run away. It's a battlefield. Yeah. You either run, or they fall on you. Oh, they fall on you. Yeah. It's a battlefield. It's a battlefield. Either win, or you gon' lose. Oh, you gon' lose.
Bars.
That's it.
I did it. Mommy did it?
Yes.
I do it. Oh.
You want to say the bars?
You want to do bars?